My name is Sebastian. I'm a Berlin-based designer and artist, and I work with communities. So I want to talk a bit about my experiences with that community-generated technology. Back in 2009, I got interested in intentional communities. So that's places like islands within bigger societies where people from different backgrounds come together to reinvent and innovate their cultural surrounding rather than complaining about the existing one they inhabit. So there's the global eco-village network, which is a cluster of eco-villages around the world, around 500. Art projects like Open Sailing, which I joined later on, which were about conquering the ocean by DIY techniques, and traveling communities and dystopian communities and so on. So I wanted to live and work with them, so I decided to travel for a year and built myself 2 suitcases for documentation and self-sufficiency on the way. They basically contained everything what I need to work and to live for a year. And one of the places I stayed the longest was Auroville, an experimental town in the making located in the south of India. Auroville is an independent state. It does not belong to anybody in particular, but humanity as a whole. The vision of Auroville was to create a universal city where nature and culture merges in equal parts and all nationalities can peacefully live together to grow into a new, sustainable mankind. The manifestation began in the 50s on bare, unfruitful land. An intense reforestation effort of 5 million trees planted, resulting in a density of 400 species per square meter, and by now 2,500 inhabitants from 50 nationalities living there at the moment. So the city is still far away from the vision to become a spiral galaxy, like you see it here. But they produce their own electricity and food. They organize themselves as work groups in a town hall, have their own social monetary system without interest, their own schools, sustainable industries, research institutes, and charming workshops. Out of the 100 different areas Auroville is composed of, I decided to stay in a neighborhood which was built and maintained by the first generations actually born in Auroville. It was called the Youth Center. Their daily work was to experiment and build their environment. Most of it was happening in the trees. I experienced that different likes and expectations naturally generate conflicts, but can result in harmonic mosaics. That you can exceed when working together. That some collaborative efforts demand commands to function. And that it helps to get in deep touch with each other to overcome certain barriers. All that was fine. That's a hard cut. On April 2010, the BP Deepwater Horizon oil platform exploded, what should keep me busy in the coming years. After my traveling, I joined an open source project initiated by Cesar Harada, who reached out to collaboratively develop cleanup solutions for such disasters. The idea was to develop a low-cost solution to remediate man-made problems with the help of natural forces. Swarms of sailing drones, autonomous or controlled by online gamers, should clean up oil spills. By sailing upwind, hereby intercepting and collecting the oil drifting downwind with a long oil-absorbent boom. I will not explain the whole concept. You can it would exceed here. The idea was to flip the usual order of priorities. So that would be profit as the main goal, technology as the tool to make profits, and then people and last care about the environment. Into Protei priorities, to give nature the highest rank, then people. Technology to make that happen, and profit, last but not least, to be a sustainable business. By using an open hardware license, we wanted to keep the technology accessible and reach out to a wide community to copy our ideas and thereby accelerate the development. At that time, we were a far-spread group of people from different professional backgrounds, bound in our intention to get this happen. We regularly met online and documented our progress and findings in an archive-like website. We reached out to universities and institutes to become partners, asked the industry for sponsoring, and made a Kickstarter campaign which was successful. With this money and the support of the V2 Institute for the Unstable Media in Rotterdam, a group of us could come together to work on the first full-scale Protei in the port of Rotterdam. We were lucky to get a huge empty warehouse just beside the water. We brought and shared our own tools. We scouted out and found most of the materials and inspiration in our local neighborhood, like in squats and all these skips, and soon had a fully functional workshop filled with stuff. We worked day and night, had a lot of media attention, interestingly mostly from the art world, which might have resulted from the utopian aspect of our endeavor. We improvised a lot, used cheap materials and simple production techniques so others would be able to duplicate our designs, what also resulted in many fails and fixes on the way. And testing was key. The port of Rotterdam provided ideal conditions, not too clean and refreshing. And again, it was important to care for each other. Unfortunately, the founder turned away from the community when we got the first series funding. But the community is still alive and investigates in growing the family. For example, with this buoy here, which we tested today and built in a workshop the last 3 days. And some of the participants are here in the back. And it's basically a platform which is like a playground for different people to implement technologies. So to explore in a playful way how to get engaged with the water, to make measurements, to collect samples. We have an underwater microphone to turn that on. So this connects you to the underwater. It is now controlled remotely, but it has a smartphone inside, and we're working on it to control it by the smartphone, so you can actually give it waypoints. It's actually what is now very easy to make, that you hook up a smartphone, use all the sensors already on board, and make it a fully autonomous robot, just going across the canals and monitoring and taking video footage. So this was the sound that was playing today on the canal.